You know that person who tears up during commercials? The one who cries at weddings, at movies, at that video of a dog reuniting with its owner? Yeah, that person isn't weak. They're wired differently. If you're someone who feels tears coming on way more often than everyone around you, welcome. You're about to feel very seen. And today, we're breaking down the psychology of people who cry easily, the ones society calls too sensitive, but science calls something else entirely. Here's the thing. Your brain isn't broken. It's actually running on a different operating system. People who cry easily have what psychologists call high emotional reactivity. And before you think that sounds like a diagnosis, let me stop you. It just means your nervous system processes emotional stimuli more intensely than average. Your amygdala, the emotion center of your brain, fires up faster and stronger. You're not overreacting. You're reacting appropriately to what your brain is genuinely experiencing. The intensity is real, even if others don't feel it the same way. And here's where it gets interesting. That emotional intensity, it's directly linked to empathy. Studies show that people who cry easily score significantly higher on empathy assessments. Your mirror neurons, the brain cells responsible for understanding others' emotions, are working overtime. When someone tells you about their bad day, you're not just hearing it, you're almost experiencing it with them. That's not weakness, that's an extraordinary capacity for human connection that most people will never fully access. But society taught you otherwise, didn't it? There's this thing called emotional socialization, and it's brutal. From childhood, we're handed scripts about acceptable emotional expression. Boys get, "Big boys don't cry." Girls get, "You're being dramatic." And everyone gets the message that tears equal inability to cope. So you learn to apologize for your tears. You developed shame around something. That's actually a sophisticated biological response. You started believing that your natural wiring was a character flaw. Let's talk about what's really happening physiologically. Emotional tears aren't the same as the tears that happen when you chop onions. They contain different chemical compositions, including stress hormones like cortisol. Your body is literally releasing emotional tension through crying. It's a pressure valve, a regulation mechanism. People who cry easily might actually be better at emotional homeostasis than those who hold everything in. You're not falling apart. You're processing and releasing in real time instead of stockpiling stress until it explodes in other ways. There's also something called sensory processing sensitivity, which affects about 20% of the population. If you're in this group, you don't just feel emotions more deeply, you notice subtleties others miss. The slight change in someone's voice, the tension in a room before anyone's said a word. That sunset that everyone else walked past without a second glance. Your nervous system is picking up on layers of information constantly, and all that input, it adds up. It moves you, sometimes to tears. Here's what nobody tells you. That ease of crying might correlate with creativity and depth of experience. Research suggests that people with high emotional sensitivity often have richer internal lives. They don't just watch a movie, they absorb it. They don't just hear music, they feel it in their chest. Yes, this means you cry at the Pixar movie. It also means you're experiencing art and beauty and human connection at a level that creates meaning most people have to work much harder to access. And let's address the elephant in the room, the assumption that crying equals inability to handle life. Except the data doesn't support that at all. Emotional expression and emotional resilience aren't opposites. In fact, people who allow themselves to cry often recover from stress faster than those who suppress it. You're not weak because you cry. You might actually be demonstrating a more adaptive coping mechanism. Suppression takes energy, release creates space. So, here's the reframe. What if those tears aren't a bug in your system but a feature? What if your ability to be moved, to feel deeply, to connect with the emotional texture of existence isn't something to fix but something to understand? You're not too sensitive for this world. You're sensitive enough to actually experience it fully in all its pain and beauty and overwhelming meaning. The people who cry easily aren't the fragile ones. They're the ones brave enough to stay open when everything around them says to shut down. That's not weakness. That's a different kind of strength entirely. If this resonated, you know what to do. And maybe save this one for the next time someone makes you feel bad about your tears.